Hello, everyone. We're back for week 15. We got 4 weeks left, 14 down, and maybe some playoffs. We'll see if we
Playoffs?
make it that far. Okay, so we got 16 games, so we're going to start ripping right into it. Tonight we have an extraordinary matchup between a couple backup quarterbacks and a couple of teams that are not going to make the playoffs. We have the Chargers at the Raiders, and I went Raiders by 3.
I got Raiders giving 1.5. Gonna get this.
It opened at 3.
Three.
There's a 3.5, but there's mostly 3s.
Trace.
Like I said, backup quarterbacks, two teams that are pretty equal. Raiders 3 at home. It just seemed like the
Basic.
right line. Easton Stick's playing for the Chargers. Herbert broke a finger on his throwing hand, had surgery, is done for the year.
Yeah.
Both teams are 5-8, and even if they win out, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to take 10 wins to get in the playoffs in the AFC, but obviously there's a ton of, if you looked at this week, you've seen there's a ton of, like, I'll call them bubble games, like teams that are 6-7, 7-6, 8-5, all playing each other. So there's like at least a handful of those games. So we'll see how that plays out. So I mean, I think the Raiders are going to win. Like, you either think the Raiders are going to win at home with Herbert not playing because the Chargers without Herbert are probably pretty bad, or the whole philosophy of, okay, Easton Stick, I don't know that he started a game ever. If he has, it's been a while.
Sorry, you keep saying Easton Stick, but who's the quarterback for the Chargers?
Easton Stick.
I'm sorry. Who's the quarterback for the Chargers? That's not a name of a human person, is it?
Yeah, he went to North Dakota State.
Sounds like a tool you use to de-weed your lawn. Easton
Yeah, we got to show Josh who Easton
right.
Stick is.
No, I get it now. That's definitely an Easton Stick.
So he
God bless.
he played for North Dakota State. He is a runner. I mean, he can throw the ball a little bit, but he can run too. So I don't know if they'll scheme it up with some option plays or quarterback draws or design runs or what, but it could be entertaining to watch. At least it's not like I was going to say like Dolphins against the bad team, but the Dolphins lost to the Titans. So
they did. Levis looked good though.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Well, at times, not when he was throwing that pick 6 from his own end zone, but yeah. So
rookie QB.
Can they scheme it up with Easton Stick with no tape on him, or are the Raiders going to win at home against a bad team without their quarterback in? Two schools of thought.
Yeah.
Take your pick. I think the Raiders are going to.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders are going to win.
Raiders have more to play for.
Right. And it just seems like Antonio Pierce is a motivator, and like he's going to keep the Raiders playing hard.
Yeah. He wants that job, right? Like Brandon Staley is out of a job.
Right.
Out of a quarterback, out of a job. But that team has nothing to play for. I mean, you're right. I don't think they make the playoffs. The Raiders, man, he wants that job. I think Antonio Pierce wants that job.
Right. So the Chargers were 5-7, and then they lost. If they would have got to 6-7, there was still hope. I don't think there's hope, and I think you're going to see that it's going to be kind of sloppy on the Chargers
side. It's a log jam at those wild card spots in the AFC.
So if you have to take the Raiders, I think that's the side, but I don't know. Maybe they only win by 3. Okay, let's go on. We're starting Saturday games. We have 3 Saturday games this week.
Yeah.
So we have the Vikings at the Bengals at noon on Saturday. I went Bengals 5.5.
And so did I. Ooh.
That is a tie. Okay, I got him. Okay,
yeah.
So Bengals, it opened at 4.
3.
And it's down to 3.
2.5. There's 3.5. So it's 3.
Okay. I don't know why this went down.
Vegas is lazy.
Nick Mullins is starting for the Vikings. So Browning versus Mullins. Mullins had his shot already in the NFL. He was serviceable, but
yeah.
I'm like, I think Browning has already shown that he's a better quarterback than Mullins. I don't know, like, I guess the Vikings defense maybe is better than the Bengals. I don't get this. I feel like it should be higher. I think the Bengals win this game at home, but I guess let's look at something real quick. So what kind of defense did the Bengals play? Okay, so Browning beat the Jags in Jacksonville. The Jags defense was really good to start the year, and I feel like they've kind of fallen off, but what else? And then the Bengals just beat the Colts. Colts defense is solid. I don't know. Like, is this lower because Flores against a quarterback who doesn't have a ton of experience can throw some wrinkles at him? I don't know.
I mean, this has to be some of this. I think has to be the change in quarterback, and maybe the defense. But I just feel like this feels like a line that Vegas would have put the week after Burrow goes down. You know, not like 3 weeks with this guy, his
Right.
backup playing and being like, oh, that
Yeah.
looks pretty good.
So, yeah, I mean, the way the line's moving, it seems like the wise guys like the Vikings.
Yeah.
I
And a
don't.
close game, which is it's just so weird. Yeah, this is a weird line. I agree. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it's reflective of how the Bengals have been playing
Right.
without Burrow.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm probably the only
can't-
person who thinks this too, but I think Dobbs, I mean, like, if you watch the Vikings game, they legitimately dropped 6 or 7 passes like that they normally should catch.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of those per drive, basically, that can completely derail a drive. And then when Mullins came in, it's not like he played perfect, but they started catching the ball.
Maybe it's because Jefferson is back.
As far as the line,
Yeah, moving because
That's-
he's back.
yeah, that's part of it.
He was injured in
yeah.
that game, but
Yeah, he should play. He is like a chest bruise or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be cleared to play, especially,
I thought I heard he was. Yeah.
you know, it's kind of do or die time. So I don't know. I think the Bengals is the right side. Seems like the wise guys think the Vikings is. So go figure.
I don't even know if this is going to be a good game, honestly.
You don't think it will be?
I don't know if it
Oh.
is. Like some of these matchups, you know, feel like they could be good. This one just doesn't. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, you got 7-6 versus 7-6. So I mean, it's like whoever wins this game is most likely making the playoffs. Although the AFC is a little bit tougher than the NFC. So
Especially right around those positions, right? That 7 and 6 position. There's 5 or 6 teams.
right. So if the Bengals lose this game, I don't think they're going to make it.
Mhm.
If the Vikings win this game,
Much more difficult.
I
And
think
they're
they
still
will.
in the
But
playoffs.
Yeah.
They're still in the playoffs right now. The Packers are still in the playoffs and they have a losing record. That
Right.
the bar in the NFC is I feel like much lower.
Yeah. So I think at the end of this, I kind of did some, you know, who's going to be favored, who will win the rest of the season for
Yeah.
these teams that are trying to make the playoffs. So at the end of this, we have a little bit of time. Maybe we'll go through that and kind of run through what I think is going to happen. But let's move on for now. Okay. We have the Steelers at the Colts, and I have the Colts by 5.5.
I have the Colts by 1.5.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it is. I think you're closer on that one.
1.5.
Oh, is it up here? All right, it went from 2.5. It opened at 2.5. It went to 1.5. So Josh nailed it.
Yes.
So it's 1-1 with a tie. So you nailed it. What do you got here?
Yeah, I just feel like this is reflective of that Steelers defense and the Colts. I don't want to say middling performance because I think they're a true surprise right now. I think this is all about the defense the Steelers put on the turf, and then just some of this is I think a little bit of Gardner Minshew, which is weird, honestly, at this point because they're a playoff team.
You
They
know,
lost
you know who's playing quarterback for the Steelers this week, right?
Yeah, it's Trubisky still.
Yeah. So you think Trubisky's better than Minshew or what?
I think the defense is the difference in this, and I think that's why it's so close. Why the Colts aren't getting the benefit of the doubt, being the home team. To me, that's it. I think Trubisky is terrible. I think
Yeah, he
it's
looked really
terrible.
bad
He's
last week.
he's bad. Like it still amazes me that he ended up on the Steelers roster, like even as a backup. And I think that's not great for the Steelers fans long term, if that's how Tomlin likes to evaluate his quarterbacks.
I think we need to see Rudolph, the red-nosed third stringer, come in for the Steelers. Mason Rudolph is still their third
Are
stringer.
you serious?
Yeah. You remember when Miles Garrett tried
Oh
to kill him?
yeah, with his own helmet. Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
Uh,
How is he the third string?
what do you mean?
He's clearly better than Trubisky.
I mean, you'd think so. He came in and won a couple games. When was it?
That was 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, I just that's so bizarre. I like the Colts here. I do like the Colts at home. I do think the line. I think it reflects the uncertainty around both of these teams because the Colts they lost last week, right? Like they lost a
To the
weird game.
Bengals.
Yeah. A game they needed to win, right? Although I do think they're still in the playoff hunt. So or they're in the playoffs if they started today. So
Yeah, they're 7-6. I think so too.
Yeah.
So I'll just say something quick. So because this line is so much lower than I thought, I feel like there's something there for the Steelers, whether it's their defense or I don't know what it is, but I just feel like someone knows something, and I think the Steelers is the right side here. So we're opposite on that. So
Yeah.
I would take the Steelers with the points. What else was I going to say? Oh, I was going through all the quarterbacks that have started a game this year and adding them up. It's like 57 or 58
That's a lot.
quarterbacks. And I was trying to, and then I was going to try to do like a jingle to like Rudolph with all the quarterback names. It just wasn't coming together. And then I was going to try to mix in Rudolph because his name's Rudolph, but
course.
he hasn't started a game. So whatever. 57 or 58 total quarterbacks have started a game. Some teams have had, there's like 2 or 3 teams that have had 4 different starting quarterbacks this year, which is incredible. And if you go look at the standings in the AFC and the NFC, the teams that are at the top 3 or 4 teams in each conference, their starter has stayed healthy, which, duh, you idiot. Like, of course, the top starting quarterbacks are way better than all these teams who have had to, bring in their backup and figure out how to win games. But it's, it is kind of crazy, like Lamar Jackson and Goff and Mahomes and Hurts and Dak, and like you just keep going on, and like the teams that are at the top, Lawrence, like haven't had quarterback injuries, or at least their quarterback's been able to play every game. So all right. So I like the Steelers, Josh likes the Colts. Let's move on. We got the Denver Broncos. Against the Detroit Lions in Detroit, and I have the Lions by 4.
I've got them by 3.5, and you got this one exactly. It looks like it is 4 across the board. Yeah.
Okay. Lions by 4. So when the Broncos were 1-5 or whatever they were, and the Lions were like 6-1, or I forget what it was. Obviously, at that point, this line would have been 10 or more. The way these two teams are playing lately, they're pretty equal. I think you still say the Lions are a little bit better team. So you give them a field goal, you give them a little bit more. That's kind of where I went with this. The Broncos are 7-6, and the Lions are like 8-5. So the Lions, barring a catastrophic lose every game from here on out, the Lions are going to make the playoffs. The NFC North is still in play because the Vikings are the Lions have 9 wins.
The Lions have 10 wins. Yeah, aren't they 10-4? No, are they 9-4?
Lost to the Bears.
They're 9-4.
Oh, they're 9-4. So the Vikings have to play the Lions twice. If they can somehow beat them twice, obviously they'd have the tiebreaker there. And then if they, all other things constant, they could win the North. Now, with Mullins and a tough schedule, like it's most likely not happening. But if you're in the locker room, it's like, hey, let's beat these guys twice, see what else happens. Maybe we could win the division and get a home game, which seems crazy since the Vikings started 1-4 as well. But so the Lions are, even if the Lions lose out, I think they're still in at 9-8. the Broncos obviously need to probably go 3-1. So is there a little bit more motivation for the Broncos at this point? I don't know. Like you could say that, but at the same time, it's the Lions just lost to the Bears. Like they need to get right. So this could be a really good game. I don't have a strong opinion. I would go Broncos just because you're getting 4. They need it. I feel like it could be or it should be a close game. What do you think on that one?
I think the Lions are stumbling at the wrong time, and their weakness, their secondary, just feels like they're facing the wrong team right now, right? I mean, Peyton and a rehabilitated Russell Wilson. Just
Yeah.
feels
Who did the
days and
Broncos?
days.
The Broncos just beat the Chargers. Is that what it was?
Was it? Yeah,
Herbert went out in the first half.
yeah, that's right. But they have they lost though a stinker too, though, like the week before, I think. It wasn't great.
Oh, they lost. They had first and goal from the 8, and if they score a touchdown, they win.
That was the Texans, yeah, and then they beat the
Oh, yeah.
Chargers.
Against the Texans. So, I really think the Broncos really need that game
Yeah.
just because the AFC is more competitive. I think
Yeah.
they're going to have to get to 10-7. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's
Yeah.
go on. Tommy DeVito.
Man, he played at Illinois. I didn't realize that.
So listen,
He graduated from Illinois. I don't actually know he graduated. He played his last college eligible season at Illinois.
so we were both talking off Tommy DeVito pretty hard for a while. And he's played
4 straight.
He's the only quarterback with above 100 quarterback rating over a 3-game stretch or more with an active streak.
The kid is all throwing darts all over the field, man.
Yeah, so he's
running.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess like you get thrown into the actual game in the NFL.
Yeah.
The speed, they say the speed is just so
That's
much.
right.
At least initially, and then some quarterbacks figure it out, and some continue to look like they don't have a clue what the hell's going on. It seems like he's figured it out
really quickly.
What a mess the Giants have in the pocketbook.
Oh my God! Why did they sign Daniel Jones?
Well, it's easy to say now. I mean, they made the playoffs.
It's easy to say then. Yeah, they gave him like $100 million.
Yeah,
or like 98 something. It was
I thought it was even more. I don't know.
Maybe it was. Why?
I don't know. But if Tommy DeVito finishes the year like 2-2, like obviously you go into camp and say the job's open next year, but if he just continues doing what he's doing, like he's gonna win the job. And then what the hell do you do with that?
You cut him. Like not that whole, much of that is not guaranteed.
Or,
I don't know how much they're gonna.
You could trade him, I guess. I don't know how that works with like picking up his contract or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's gonna want him? But
Yeah. Well,
with
yeah.
all these backups playing and some of them are really bad, like
Yeah.
someone's gonna say, like we still see something in him. We
Sure.
think we could scheme it up with him. So
He'll get invited into camp to that one team that's got like 5 quarterbacks, none of them good, and there'll be a he'll be on a bench somewhere, but
yeah,
probably
I
the
don't know.
Giants. I love that story though, man. Tommy DeVito. That's like that Packers game.
and he's going like
Good, yeah,
he's
the
going like
whole
this.
time. I mean, dude, just amazing performance. Big fan. Big fan.
And then his agent on the sideline with like all black and like
The
the
hat. Yeah.
mobster hat and everything. All right. Enough
Looking
about that.
slick.
Giants at the Saints.
Yeah.
I say Saints by 5.
And I've got the Saints by 5.5. I don't either, and I'm not sure why I didn't pick it.
It opened at 5 and it's up to 6. Josh gets that one. Okay, so I got the last
Yes.
one. We're tied so far.
Wow.
2-2. We're
Competitive
tied.
week. Love it.
What did I say?
6.
6. Okay, so
I don't like this line. And I know I we were both right around it. But we just sat there glowing up Tommy DeVito, and now I want to kind of change my answer, even though my answer was right.
I know it does seem a little weird.
Doesn't it?
So the Saints
Really
are
strange.
inconsistent, and the Giants
Yeah.
somehow are the most consistent team over the last like 3 weeks.
Daboll's a good coach, I think. He's a little bit of a red ass, I guess, but
Yeah.
he's a good coach.
Here's my opinion on why this line is higher,
Yeah.
and this could be totally wrong, but so the Giants haven't played a I mean, they played a primetime game against the Packers on Monday.
In the Thanksgiving game. Beat the
Um,
Lions.
oh, the Packers beat the Lions.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I thought
Oh,
you said the Packers haven't played it.
Oh, maybe I did.
Let me get out of your way. Sorry.
I
Go
meant,
right ahead.
I
Nope.
probably did. I meant
It's my fault.
Giants.
It's my fault.
So the Giants win a primetime game on a Monday. Maybe there's a little hangover from that. Like maybe they think they're on top of the world now, and there's a little bit of like I said, a hangover or like coming back down to earth. Plus, I don't know how much this matters. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But one fewer day to prepare. Because they played Monday. So make of that what you will. I think that's got to be part of why this is higher. And then, I don't know. I mean, the Saints defense is still pretty solid. You're going on the road. Like, are the Saints gonna, like, is Tommy gonna fall back down to earth now that he's getting a lot of attention? I think that's what it is. But
The Giants are 2-5 on it.
yeah, I don't know.
Good record.
I really don't. I don't know what you do with this one.
Maybe stay away from a betting standpoint. I thought honestly, take the Giants in the points. Like, don't put so much money on it. Take the Giants in the points.
Or
Enjoy the ride.
yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. All right, enough about that. It's what the Giants are 5-8 and the Saints are 6-7. The NFC South is an absolute
Disaster.
mess. 3 teams
Yeah.
are 6-7. Someone has to win that division. I don't know. Like, can the Saints win 2 games in a row? I don't think they've won 2 games in a row or showed any consistency for like a 3-game stretch in like ever this year. So,
And the Giants have won 3 in a row, and their best victory by far is that Packers game.
so there you go. The Giants haven't really played good teams either. So that's part of it. It's like
Commanders and Patriots.
everyone thinks the Giants are so good now, but if you look at it closely, they haven't really played anyone. So
Beating
I don't
the
know.
Patriots 10-7, not ideal.
I think that's just I think that's a fair line. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else. I forget. Anyway, let's move on. We've got a couple of teams that start with a B playing over in Cleveland. Oh yeah, one other thing I was gonna say about the Giants. They're 5-8.
Yeah. No. Yes.
But if they somehow run the table, they will be in the playoffs. Mark my words. If they can win 4 in a row after winning 3 in a row, how nuts would that be?
God, Tommy
Tom
in the
DeVito.
playoffs. Let's see it, guys. Let's see it.
I don't know. Like,
Let's see it.
there's teams I'd rather not see in the playoffs as opposed to the Giants for sure. So whatever.
Their conference record is right there, man. They're 4-4. They're 500 at the conference level. That puts them right there in tiebreakers with all of the.
They absolutely, like, if they get to 9-8, they will
Yeah.
be good enough to make the playoffs in
Yeah.
the NFC. But I mean, are they going to win 4 in a row? Probably not. Well, okay, so I got a little sidetracked there.
Yeah.
So Bears at the Browns. I have the Browns by 5.5.
I have the Browns by 6.5.
The Browns.
No,
No,
the Bears.
I know.
I mean,
You're
as
playing
terrible
this
as
game
they
too.
are, that's their thing.
It opened at 3, and it's 3. Browns by 3.
What?
So we were both kind of off. I get that one. I'm closer. I think Vegas is just saying, like, the way these 2 teams are playing, they're equal at this point. Obviously early in the year, the Browns would have been favored by a lot more, but you've got, I mean, are these 2 defenses playing as well as any right now?
I mean, think that's what you got to say about the Bears. And the Browns have been very, very good this year defensively.
So the Browns defense is probably still a little bit better, but the Bears have their starting quarterback and the Browns have Flacco. So it kind of evens out, and it's just, okay, Browns by 3 at home.
I mean, the Browns have looked like the better team over the course of the season, and the Bears have looked good against the Lions, but they only won one of those games. So, I mean, it's just so weird. I think people, and you listen to the radio, local radio here, and it's like, oh yeah, no, the Bears have arrived. Like, even at the national level, It's like some people are going, oh yeah, the Bears are on the right trajectory. And I'm like, man, can they finish the season before we,
Right,
let's see what they do over these last, because they could still finish. They could lose every game, right?
right. So,
Um,
yeah, I mean, the Bears have kind of been quietly playing
Yeah.
really well.
yeah,
And now it seems like people are taking notice. So can they handle a little bit of
yeah,
like I don't know, success and like win another game?
yeah.
I don't know.
That
Tough.
defense looks good though. Looks really good. I don't know what the Browns offensive line is like, but the Bears defense looks good. And a very, very statue-like Joe Flacco is not a good mix, I don't feel like.
Yeah. So the Bears and the Giants are in the same boat, right? They're
Yeah.
both playing really well. If they win out, they're going to make the playoffs, which seems crazy if you talked to us 3 weeks ago, but
So crazy.
that's what it is. I don't know. I think the Bears are going to cover this. Like I think it's going to be a close game. Like
We take the Bears in the points.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean Flacco's immobile. You said
Yeah.
the Bears defensive line has been getting after
Look,
the
Sweat
quarterback.
has looked really good since he's been here. He's looked really good.
And like with Fields being mobile, that kind of takes away some of the pass rush for the Browns. I don't know. I think it's just a good matchup for the Bears, but I mean,
Fields, yeah. I'm
is this
sorry,
where the Bears regress again? Like it seems like that's what happens.
Well, that's what happens if you remember going back to the first time they played the Vikings, right? Fields had that amazing game the week before against the Commanders, right? Where he threw for like almost 400 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. He was like near perfect. And so everybody was really excited. And then Flores and the Vikings put his ass on the turf over and over again. And he didn't look like he knew what he was doing. And it sucked. And then he was injured. That was when he was injured and he was out. And now he's come back and they played the Vikings again. He looked good. So I think that's the question. Can he stand up to that relentless pressure that's likely to come and be successful? Because he's shown some of that. Like he's navigated a crumbling pocket. He's throwing darts. He looks really accurate when he needs to be. And he seems to be scrambling when it makes sense to scramble and not just because. So that's all great. But he's doing that in pockets and not consistently over the course of like several games. And I think that's why I have a lot of hesitancy here and why I put the line where I did. I just don't know about Fields. If he plays like he did last week, I don't think there's any Browns are going to get crushed.
Yeah, I mean we guessed high. It
Yeah.
seems like someone knows something like the Bears are going to keep this close. So that's you know how I work. That's just how I think. So that's we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Bears fan, like you got to feel good about at least next year and keeping Eberflus and
No! Oh my God.
we'll see. Tough decisions here in the NFL.
You know what?
Stop,
The
Bears.
scary thing is that is a very true statement. Like everything you just said is like legitimately true. That just seems so dumb to me.
It's such a week to week, like 1 month to the
is.
next. Like if
Yeah.
you rewind and listen to what we were saying a month ago, like you would say that this is an alternate reality.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's how the NFL is. It's
It
like
is.
that every year. There's always stories and teams that
This year seems to be like especially tumultuous and also especially like there's a lot of parity right around that wild card like bubble. A lot of parity.
for sure. I mean, real quick, Vikings Bengals, that's a bubble game. Steelers Colts, that's a bubble game. Broncos Lions, the Lions are in, but that's sort of a bubble game.
Yeah.
Giants Saints, I don't know. I mean, like if the Giants could peel 4 off, like they're still technically in it.
Yep.
Bears Browns, same story. Not Falcons Panthers. Bucks Packers, same story. Not Jets Dolphins, not Chiefs Patriots. Texans Titans. I mean, I think the Titans are sitting at 5-8.
Yeah,
Like,
they're right there. I mean, that's the thing. It's like there's 4 games left in the schedule, and all of every division you just talked about, there's not enough space between the division leader and even the sub 500 teams to call those divisions right. Those still open depending on how those 4 games go.
Right.
No, I think coming out of this week, that probably ceases to be the case. Like we'll have a lot more clarity. But this is a big week for all of these teams.
Right.
All of these games. A lot of important stuff going to happen.
It is not a big week for the Panthers.
No.
Because even if they try to lose, they don't have that pick.
They don't have that pick.
Falcons at the Panthers. Yeah. Who would win in the wild if a Falcon was chasing a Panther? I don't know.
Fascinating question.
I have the Falcons by 3.
I've got by 4.5, right? Yeah, 4.5.
I think it is around 3, but I don't know if it's
It
exactly
seems right.
3. Oh, it is. It's exactly
3.
3. All right. So I nailed it. I'll keep this short.
Yeah.
It seems like, well, whatever. The Falcons there's no consistency there. They're 6-7. I think they've had a pretty easy schedule. A lot of people would still say the Panthers are horrible.
Mhm.
I'll take the Falcons every day here. People would say that.
Yeah.
But it's not like the Falcons are great, and you're not going to get crazy with the line on the road, even if it is the Panthers. So I think you just put it at 3, and you either think the Panthers are going to be somewhat competitive and cover, or the Falcons are going to take care of a bad team and actually play the way they should play. So I don't know. Do you have any?
No, let's not spend a ton of time on the Panthers.
Agree. I was hoping that was what you'd say. All right, moving on. Bucks at the Packers.
Your division leading Bucks.
Oh yeah, Tampa 6-7. They're like, we got this. I have the Bucks by 6 I have the Packers by 6.5.
I have the Packers by 5.
Packers 5, Packers 6.5. You're gonna get this one, I'm pretty sure.
It is 3.5.
Open at 3.5. Some places it's down to
Drop.
3. So we'll call it 3.5.
Yeah. This just feels like recency bias to me. The Bucks won and are now division leaders, and the Pack lost. In that national game.
So this one's a little confusing to me. I'll explain. So the Bucks just won, and the Packers just lost to the Giants. So I think the Packers at this point are, I think, a better team than the Bucks. I don't think anyone would say that the Bucks are a better team. You have the Packers coming home after a tough loss.
Yeah.
At Lambeau, you got Baker coming into Lambeau. I obviously thought this was going to be higher. I went 6.5. It's only 3.5. So this is one of those weird ones where like I'm going against myself. Like the Bucks seems like the right side just because the line is goofy low. But I like the Packers. Are the Packers not going to win this game at home when they need it? Especially when the Bucks are kind of on a high and the Packers are hungry again because they lost a game they don't feel they should have lost. I don't know. Like this is a tough one for me. I'm waffling.
It is because, for the first 4 games of the season, the Bucks were 3-1, and everybody was like, "Oh, Baker Mayfield. Okay, now he's found his home. This is a team on the come." And then what did they do? They lost. They sucked. That whole division sucked. They fell apart. And then now all of a sudden they win one game. Everybody else in the division loses, and they're division leaders. This is weird. I take the Packers all day here, I feel like.
Yeah, and right. So my philosophy would normally be to take the Bucks, but I just don't see how the Packers come out with a dud here. Like I think they're going to come out and play well.
Yeah.
At least initially. I don't know. There must be some sort of matchup issue there. Like I don't know. Do the Packers have an injury or something?
No, Love starting. Like he looked good last week or 2 weeks ago, rather.
I'm not sure. So make of it what you will. Let's move on.
Yeah.
A lot of games, not a lot of time.
Nope.
Jets at the Dolphins. I have the Dolphins by 12.
I got them by 12.5, giving 12.5.
Well, now 12.5, now 12.5, now 12.5 now.
Oh, give me a big line. Whoa.
Opened at 10 and it went down to 8.5.
Wow.
Okay. I get that one, even though we were both well off. Tyreek Hill injured his ankle and tweaked his knee a little bit. Came back in and played on adrenaline. Actually looked good running around after he came back in, but I haven't looked this week if he's questionable. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those where he's maybe doesn't play, and that as well. If you watch the Titans Dolphins game when he went out, it obviously makes their offense way less dynamic because you don't have to chase him on the fly route or like give him so much space because he's so fast. I have a feeling that's what this is. I think this would be higher if Tyreek was fully healthy, but I don't know what you do with this. It's the Dolphins, obviously, they're up 14 with 3 minutes left and lost to the Titans at home. If Tyreek's not playing, they're more predictable. They're going against the Jets defense, which is one of the best in the league. It's just kind of a weird game. Like, is Tyreek going to play? Can the Dolphins still scheme it up against a good defense without him? Even, the Jets are bad overall. Zach Wilson just played the best game of his career, but there's no way he's going to play 2 good games in a row.
It seems highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Especially against a team that's been as motivated as the Dolphins. Like the number 1 seed, that bye is still realistic for them. So they can't really afford to drop this game either.
So I don't know. I don't know what you do with this. I mean, it's lower than I thought. I think a lot of that's Tyreek.
Taking the Dolphins.
But I don't know. I'll spend any more time on it because I don't have a strong opinion on that. So we got the Chiefs.
Yeah, not a good game.
At the Patriots. Another not so good game. We do have quite a few like competitive games this week, but
a lot of them with
might not be one of them. Okay. I have the Chiefs by 6.
I have them by 6.5.
You're gonna get this because it's way higher than that.
Is it?
It opened at 10. Oh wow.
Dropped to 8.5. Couple of 7.5s. Let's say 8.
Yeah, we'll call it 8. That's weird. That dropped a lot.
Yeah,
it's down to 8.5. We'll say there's a couple 7.5s even, but right. Josh gets that one. It is 5-4 me so far. Pretty competitive week. So 8.5 still seems high. I mean, the Patriots just won a game. Good for them. Belichick is going to be fired after the year. They came out and said that. I don't know.
It's out there.
If that's
matters. Crazy though. Like that rumor, like I get letting him go, but it feels like the thing that he's due is that you don't like put the rumor out there 4 games left of the season. You know what I mean? You don't have that living out there, given everything he's done. That seems like the shitty thing.
It seems, I could be wrong on this, but it seems like they do, like these long tenured coaches that finally like fall on their face. It seems like it's like the noble thing to do. Like, you suck now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna give you the rest of the season because that's the noble thing to do.
Right. Yeah, he's earned it. Yeah.
But if you're the coach, like, do you think he likes that, or is he like, screw off, just pay me and fire me and let's move on? I don't know. Interesting offseason to see if he even wants to keep coaching. I think he's like 71 years old, so he might say, I don't care.
He's chasing Shula's record though.
Oh.
Most wins all time, I think.
And then there's the motivation to be like, there's a lot of people saying Brady, Belichick was more Brady than Belichick based on
that way now
what happened the last few years. So maybe he thinks he has something to prove there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, what happens to his career if he didn't like luck into the best quarterback of all time? Like if he had to search for that quarterback, like most of the other coaches in the league who are defensive oriented, who almost never seem to find him, like what would his legacy have been?
True. Yeah. Obviously not as good. I mean, maybe
doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, we'll never know. That's the big thing.
No.
So Chiefs by 8.5. I don't know. Like, it's higher than I thought it would be. I thought the Patriots would play decent at home. The Patriots just beat the Steelers. Trubisky looks terrible. The Chiefs are kind of broken. I don't know what
doesn't seem right.
Can the Patriots play well 2 games in a row? Like, are the Chiefs going to figure out how to play football? Like, is a receiver going to line up behind the line of scrimmage so they can like execute a play? I don't. This is a weird line. It's a weird matchup. I don't have any opinion on this. I have no idea.
We'll see what kind of coach Andy Reid is. Is this the Chiefs are falling right now and they need to stop? This is the right kind of team. But I don't know. That defense of the Patriots is feisty, so we'll see.
I will say one thing. This is the point. Like, this is like the Chiefs have been kind of bad for a few weeks, but this is the point where that locker room has to just be like, guys, we're way better than this.
Yeah.
Like, let's turn it on.
Yeah.
Let's make a push for a buy. I mean, we're probably not getting it, and then let's make a run.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, so I mean, part of me says that's gonna propel them to just blow out the Patriots and kind of get on a little roll, but I don't know. Is their receiving core just not really good enough to really can you just double Kelsey and single coverage on the other receivers and
Seems
limit the Chiefs? I
that
don't know.
things, yes, I think the answer feels like yes right now, and that's their problem.
All right, Texans at the Titans. I have the
Texas Titans.
Texans by 3.
Oh, I bet the Titans giving just one.
I think you're gonna get this, and I messed this one up when I was so. It is 2.5. Titans 2.5.
Titans.
Josh gets that one. So I don't think I realized when I guessed this line. Well, I don't think I knew Stroud had gotten a concussion. Wasn't it late in the game when he got it?
Yeah, it was it the third or fourth quarter?
So I was assuming Stroud was going to play, and he still might play. I don't think I think his concussion was fairly mild, but he's still in the protocol. This line says that. I think this line says that he is not playing.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm reading too much into it. So
it's a lot of Will Levis love.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate these games where the starter's out and you have to try to guess at whether the backup is going to be serviceable or not on like a one game, getting to play one game before the starter's back. I have no idea. I feel like if Stroud plays, the Texans is the right side.
Yeah.
The Titans just, won their Super Bowl by beating the Dolphins on the road down 14 with less than 3 minutes left. I don't know.
I mean, they're still 5-8. They're 5-8 along with the Jets, the Raiders, and the Chargers. So they're right there with the rest of the bottom.
They're AFC 5-8 though.
They're AFC. Okay, AFC.
So I really think it's going to take 10 wins to get in, which would mean they are mathematically eliminated. But
that seems
we've
right.
seen weirder things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right, we got 5 left,
Yeah.
and we are tied.
Whoa.
We got one tie, and we each got 5.
Woot.
Niners at the Cards. Another really good, or not really good team, but road team that's far better than the home team situation. So I have the Niners by 8.
I got them by 9.
You're gonna get that because it's high. It is opened at 14 and came down to 12.5. So I think it's very clear what's happening here. The Niners are playing really well. They're covering a lot. Although when Drew Lock got announced as the starter, I think that line shot up, and the Niners I think won by 12, which I think maybe covered the initial line, but not the changed line. Whatever, yeah. So Vegas is basically saying the Niners are thumping everyone. We're gonna throw out a high number and see what happens. Well, they threw out 14. It came down to 12.5. The Cardinals beat the Steelers and then had a bye. They're playing better with Kyler Murray, at home, 12.5. I kind of get it because the Niners are nasty, but I don't know. I guess it's just whether the Cards show up and whether they can keep up with the Niners for 4 quarters.
This just feels like the Niners are gonna punch him in the face till the Cardinals pass out. Honestly, the Niners right now look like the best team in the league. And just when you want to look like that. So
after the Eagles lost to the Cowboys, the Niners control their own destiny for home field.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Niners organization seems like, or their team seems like I talk about this hangover effect. They seem like they know how to not let that happen. They seem like they do the things the right way. What was it? Who is the defensive lineman for the Commanders that got traded? Young?
Yeah, Chase Young.
Chase Young. He said, I came over here and I see how they do things and I realize why they win so many games. They're just doing so many things the right way. And it's which is a huge, I don't know, stab in the back to the Commanders maybe, but it is what it is.
Look at the two products. He's not saying anything that those football teams aren't saying on the field.
There's teams that just try to manage the day to day, and there's teams that understand all of the little things,
everything,
and they make sure they take care of those things. And then guess which teams are
Yeah.
usually better. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
We got those Commanders we were talking about
Yes.
against the Rams at the Rams.
Ooh,
I have the Rams by 8.
I like your line better. I have them by 7, giving 7. Yeah.
All right. What do we got? What do we got? It opened at 7 and it went down to 6.5. Josh gets that one. Rams minus 6.5. Okay. I went 8. Josh went 7. I mean, we're close.
Yeah.
I don't like. It is kind of a high line. It's not like the Rams are super
They're not the
great,
Dolphins right now, you know. Putting
but
up
they've been
the
playing
Cowboys.
way better. They're
Yeah.
pretty healthy. They had the Ravens.
Yeah.
3rd and 17, up 3, and Lamar Jackson finds Flowers in the end zone to take the lead, or maybe they were up 4. Whatever happened. Yeah, then they kicked the field goal to go to overtime. They had the Ravens.
Yep.
On the road. You just don't know what you're getting from the Commanders right now. Like, they sort of seem like they've given up, or maybe they're just not very good and they just like, I don't know.
All of the above, I think.
So I don't know. I just think I think the Rams definitely win this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be by 7 or 4 or 24, but they look good. They're playing consistent the last few games.
Coming together at the right time.
They really need it. I think they're 6 and 7.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I think the Rams are going to win this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be by 7. All right, Josh has the lead. I need to win the rest to win.
Oh.
Cowboys at the Bills. What a good game.
Oh my God, so good. Offensive dynamics on display.
I went pick 'em.
I went Bills giving 3.
So I opened at 2 and it is 2. Josh gets that one and wins the week.
Whoa.
So
Been a long time since that's happened, so.
the Bills just beat the Chiefs at
Yeah.
Arrowhead. Did they have a
Yeah.
bye before that? And then they had the Eagles
Yeah.
on the road
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
right.
So
Yeah.
they're playing
This is still a good team.
really good. The Cowboys just beat the Eagles. So this is one of my favorite picks of the week right here.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are I think they're gonna win.
Do you really?
Yeah.
As good as the Cowboys have looked.
They're gonna have they just beat the Eagles. They're flying high. The Bills are playing well. It's in Buffalo. Yeah, I think the Cowboys are gonna. Remember when the Bills played the Dolphins and the
Yeah.
Dolphins were beating everyone, and then
Yeah.
the Dolphins went to Buffalo and
That's right.
Buffalo beat them by
Beat
like
the crap
20.
out of them. Yeah, 40-20, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
The Cowboys are obviously really solid
Oh, good.
on both sides. I just think it's gonna be like one of those games where the Bills just show up and
Punch him in the mouth.
say, "All right, you're coming into our house, like we win. We need this game."
Yeah, they
we
definitely
win."
do.
That, I mean,
Yeah.
so that's the reason why, like, a lot of people would think the Cowboys should be favored here for sure. Bills are favored. I think it's fair, and I think the Bills are going to win that game. Ravens at the Jags. I have the Ravens by 2.5 on the road.
I have the Jags by 3.5.
All right, so I think
Got
it's
this one.
Ravens
It
by
is.
3.5.
Ravens by
Oh, it's 3.
3.
Open at 3.5 Ravens. It's down to 3. So
Saying a lot.
I get that one. The Jags are, I don't know, Lawrence isn't completely healthy with his ankle. They just seem a little bit off the last few weeks. Christian Kirk went on IR. That obviously changes when, like Ridley and Kirk were both very solid receivers. You lose one of those, you have to put in Parker Washington, and you're just not as dynamic. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Jags. This feels like the Ravens are gonna win this game just because they're playing better and they're just a little bit better team. Like I just think the Ravens win this game.
I don't think there's any question the Ravens are the best team in the AFC. To me, they've looked the most consistent. I think they've got the best. I don't want to say the best coach. They've got a really good coach given where they're positioned. Yeah, I think that line makes sense. I think I picked the Jags. because I'm an idiot.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, 3 weeks ago, if this game was played, I think it might be Jags by 3,
agree.
or at least a
Yeah.
pick 'em, but
Without the Lawrence, without the Lawrence injury, I think it's probably Jags, maybe not even 3.5, maybe more towards a push 'em or a pickup, but
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Ravens by 3 makes sense.
All right. And then we have the Eagles at the Seahawks.
And we're gonna tie
I
this.
have the Eagles by 3.5.
So do I.
And I think we're pretty close. It opened at 3.5 and it went up to 4. So we both were very close. Tie. Josh wins the week 8-6, 2 ties.
Boom.
So the Seahawks have had a tough schedule, I feel
Yeah.
like. They were what,
Yes.
like 6-3, and now
Yeah.
they're 6-7, something like that. The Seahawks absolutely need this game. The Eagles need this game because they've been fluttering.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think the Seahawks are going to cover at home if Geno plays. Geno
Yeah.
had a groin injury late in the week and didn't even
Yep.
play last week.
Yep.
I think Hurts' knee is a little banged up too, but I think
The Eagles are a better team. Like
Hands
on paper, are
down.
the better team.
I just think
Better
4 is a little high, and the Seahawks can keep it close, but
Yeah.
they haven't been playing that well.
I mean, I like this to be a competitive game.
Yeah.
Not an easy victory at all. And given the way the Eagles just want to give the game away early, that just the Seahawks, I think, are too good of a team to do that against. But I don't know. The Eagles have beaten better teams while sort of snoozing in the first half. So we'll see.
Yeah. So there's quite a few pretty solid games as far
Good
as like
week of games.
like there's a lot of weeks where we get a lot of dud matchups, and I feel like there's only maybe a handful at most.
Great slate of Saturday games, though. Every one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
games matters, right?
Saturday, noon,
Yeah.
3:30, 7:15, 3 games, watch all day.
Yeah, see you at the bar.
Real quick, I tried to figure out who I thought would be favored amongst the bubble teams the rest of the way, and I came up with who would win those games based on who would be favored. So I think, like, this is how I think it's going to finish up. I think the Vikings and Packers get to 9-8 and grab the last 2 wildcard spots. The Falcons, Bucks, and Saints, I have all finishing at 8 and 9. So you're going to have the tiebreaker deciding who gets that division.
Yeah.
And then one of those other, and then I'm going to have the Rams and Seahawks also at 8 and 9. So whoever wins that tiebreaker gets the last spot. Obviously, it's not going to finish like this because not everyone who's supposed to win wins.
So you think the AFC South is potentially going to get 2 teams into the playoffs? Or the NFC South, excuse me.
Well, yeah, if the 2 teams who don't win the division win the tiebreaker, but
they're like
the tiebreaker is going to
be that's crazy though, because they're like they feel like the worst division in football, yet we're looking at, and this makes total sense.
Hold on.
Right?
Hold on. Whoever wins that division is going to get that spot.
Right.
And then the Vikings and Packers will get the last 2 wildcard spots. So no.
Oh, because the Eagles are that's right. Because the Eagles or the Cowboys have that first wildcard spot locked up. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So and then in the AFC, I think it's going to be 10 and 7. I have the Colts, Broncos, Bills, Jags, and Browns all finishing 10 and 7.
Wow.
And I think one of those could be out at 10 and 7. Although, like I said, it's not going to play out exactly like you think. So that probably isn't quite right. I think the first team out is maybe 9 and 8, but
yeah,
it's very possible that a 10 and 7 AFC team could be out. All right.
Yeah. You're right there with the Colts and the Jags. That is so crazy if the Jags don't win that division. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The Colts, Broncos, Bills, and Packers have by far the easiest schedules the rest of the way. The Giants have a very difficult schedule, even though I said, they have a chance.
Yeah.
They're probably, they just have one of the most difficult schedules.
Yeah.
So it's a good story, but they're not winning out.
Probably not.
Yeah. And then the Steelers, I have finishing 1 and 3 and a lot of 2 and 2s out of the bubble teams here, but there you have it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
We got the Vikings winning, the Bears winning last week. Hopefully they can continue.
Weird.
Go Vikings!
Go Bears!